And welcome to another episode of GamerHeads. My name is Roger, aka Rogue Leader 76, and with me, as always, is my co-host Blue,
aka Writer's View,
and my other co-host Christian,
aka Fulgan.
Mike couldn't make it this week, but we do have a jam-packed show for you today. We will be talking about So You Think You Can Dance. We'll be talking about the Carlton and how that cannot be copyrighted, that dance. We'll also be talking about the Nintendo Direct, and our hot topic this week is talking about the remakes and if they're worth the money that they're charging for them, especially with Link's Awakening being announced. So we'll be talking about that later on in the show. But first, before we get into all of that, we do have an icebreaker this week, and the icebreaker is, since Valentine's Day just passed, what is your favorite video game couple?
you're killing me, like, seriously. You go first.
Okay, so my favorite video game couple is Trevor and Sypha. They were really cool. I loved them in Castlevania 3, and then the TV series came out, and it was so much better. I just love that couple.
They are really great in the show.
Yeah. All right, Christian, what is your favorite video game couple?
The first one that comes to mind is Nathan Drake and Elena Fisher from the Uncharted series, because I really like that franchise, and in a series that's kind of very, like, archetypal, it's like the Indiana Jones fantasy, and that's kind of what Elena Fisher is for the first game. But as soon as they start evolving throughout the course of the series of games, their relationship gets a lot more complex, and there's a lot of very interesting emotions that are expressed between the two, especially in Uncharted 4, that I really like. And it feels like a more complex human relationship that I can really attach myself to, which isn't very common in video games.
All right, and so Blue, what is your favorite video game couple then?
You know what? I'll go with Pac-Man and Ms. Pac-Man.
Oh, that's a good couple. I didn't even think of them.
They've been together for so long,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they're, just a really good example to the rest of us.
They've been together for like 50 years? Something like that? No,
Yeah,
when
I
did
don't
Miss
know.
Pac-Man come out? I don't know. I guess because really they probably weren't together until Miss Pac-Man came out, right? Like, because we
No,
don't know
because-
about Miss
Because
Pac-Man. Do we?
remember the little cutscenes between the original Pac-Mans
Oh.
where they are running from the ghosts and then they
Mhm.
meet?
Yeah.
That's where it
Is-
started.
Is Miss Pac-Man in that? Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay. And then do they have Baby Pac-Man or Pac-Man Jr. In that little cutscenes?
Yeah.
Or no? Oh, they do. Oh. I never played Pac-Man Jr. Was that any good? I never played that game.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Speaking of couples, though, one last thing I'll mention about couples. So, whatever happened to Mario and Pauline? Like, was there like a fallout there, or what's going on? Like, is Mario and Peach together?
Mm-hmm.
So, what
Yes.
happened to Pauline? I mean, Pauline's
in New
in
Donk
Odyssey.
City.
I know. That's what I'm saying. She's in Pinball as well. Did they
Really?
like have a fall? Yeah, she is. She's the one. If you go into the secret area of Pinball, you have to catch her when she falls, and you carry her over. You have to like break all the bricks that she's walking across, and you catch her and you walk her over to the side, and then you get extra points for saving her. So-
Here's my theory. I think you didn't actually save her. I think she died. And then they rewrote it to not upset the children, because think about it.
Oh.
She's not around anymore. We've got Peach, we've got Daisy, we've got Rosalina.
But she's in New
Yes.
Donk City, though. In Mario Odyssey.
Oh, is she?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh. Well,
Is she a
There goes that theory.
ghost?
I don't know.
Or
I
maybe
think she's still
she
dead.
just took on the name Pauline.
Yes.
Took on she stole somebody's identity? Is that what you
Mhm.
think?
Hey man,
What-
if you see any of those Mario timelines, this wouldn't be too out of the realm of possibility.
That's true. That's true. Oh, we're gonna have a separate podcast to get GamerHeads investigates. What happened to Pauline? Is she dead? Did someone take her identity? Yeah, it would be good. We should do
True
that.
crime video game podcast.
Yeah. Stay tuned, folks. That's what we're coming up with next. All right, so listeners, what is your favorite video game couple? You can let us know. You can send us a tweet at GamerHeadsPC. You can send us an email at info@gamerheadspodcast.com. You can go to our website, gamerheadspodcast.com, and you can also leave us a message on Facebook at facebook.com/gamerheadspodcast. All right, so let's go into our news. So we have a couple items here. And then, of course, if you have other items, please feel free to add them. Blue, do you want to take the first one since you're the one that brought this to my attention?
Sure. This comes from Polygon, and according to the U.S. Copyright Office, Carlton cannot copyright his dance on the show and prevent it from being used in Fortnite.
Aww.
The ruling was filed in one of two lawsuits that the actor Alfonso Ribeiro has brought against the video game makers whose characters and avatars perform the Carlton, which is a dance he popularized on the sitcom The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Did you know that he was also suing 2K as well over the fact that they were using the Carlton in the NBA basketball games? I didn't realize that until I read that article.
But it's okay in Destiny.
Apparently.
Yep.
Apparently. But, yeah, so they ruled that he cannot... he can't sue them. Like, the dances, I guess, are not copyrighted, which makes sense to me. Like, how could you copyright a dance? It doesn't make sense to me. But I'm glad that ruling happened. Apparently, they're going to still try to bring the case forward, but I think Epic is trying to throw the case out. So,
yeah. Well, hopefully, it'll set a precedent, and all this nonsense will stop.
Yeah, I hope so.
Because if anybody was going to win, it was probably going to be him.
Yeah. I don't think Orange Shirt Kid was going to win
or whatever.
yeah, exactly. Although I never heard of these guys until this happened. So I mean, there is something to it that at least maybe they became more famous because of this. I don't know. It's weird. Christian, you want to take the next item?
Sure. This one's from ABC News. There was a rare Super Mario Bros. Test launch copy that sold for $140,000, which is the record price for a video game. And the rare test copy was apparently identified with a Nintendo sticker on the top of the box, and it sold for $140K, making it the most expensive game sold, beating the old record of a later version of Super Mario Bros., which sold for $42,000 on eBay in 2017, and there are only a few thousand of these test copies made. That's insane. What is it about Nintendo memorabilia that just makes the price just skyrocket?
I know, isn't that crazy?
It's ridiculous.
Like, I think part of it is the fact that it was one of the first games that came back after the fall of the video game, right? And like you had all this terrible stuff, and then who knew? I mean, just think if we lived in an alternate universe where Nintendo didn't exist, or it didn't work out, right? Like how crazy that would be. But I think that's part of it, and to think about the fact that somebody kept this in a box,
that's insane.
With the sticker on it, that's insane.
Well, I'll tell you what, for $140,000, they better not have put like a price sticker across the top label of the game.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Ooh, yikes. Those are
like
the worst.
we went to used game stores yesterday, and I'm just always looking at them. I'm just going, why? Why do you put the sticker on the label? Why do you do that?
I know. I know. It's my least favorite thing too. Then I go home and I try to scrape it off. I'm like, this is the worst.
Careful.
I know. It is the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird that the old record was set by Mario Brothers as well, Super Mario Brothers. So who knows? I don't know. What do you do with this now? You just hold it in your house and you're like, look at that. I paid $140,000 for that. That was amazing.
I guess so. I'd rather live in a $140,000 house.
I know, right?
Jeez.
$140,000 around here, Blue, will get you a nice house, by the way.
Okay.
I don't know so by you, but here it's $140,000. You can get a pretty decent home for $140,000.
Oh.
So,
yeah, it's okay.
The next item here that I have is from GameSpot, and the Nintendo Direct came out this week and announced a couple of new games. Christian was super excited about it. It was funny, actually, because Christian on, what was that, Friday, I think you said, did you watch the Direct? I'm like, oops, I forgot to watch it.
Yeah.
No,
I know.
how could you?
Well, I was super busy on Thursday with other stuff, and then I worked late, and then I didn't get home, and then I was like tired and crabby, and then Friday came around.
You didn't plan your lunch break at work specifically to be when the Direct was? Because that's what I did.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That is clever. No, I didn't. I don't even know if I took a lunch on Thursday. Wah, wah. Yeah, it was a sad day. But it was announced, and here are some of the games that were announced for it, and I'll just go through a couple of them. We have Super Mario Maker 2. Yes. Did I predict a Super Mario Maker, Christian? Did I not predict that?
You did, Roger. You predicted it. Congratulations.
No. Thank you. Box Boy and Box Girl.
Mm-hmm.
The Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening.
Yes.
Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, which we knew was coming, but okay.
Mm-hmm.
Tetris 99.
Yeah. Which we didn't know was coming, but
we didn't know it was coming.
Is the surprise super hit so far?
Yeah, yeah. Assassin's Creed 3 Remaster. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
Yes.
Yoshi's Crafted World in Final Fantasy 9 and Final Fantasy 7. Final Fantasy 9 being out right now, and Final Fantasy 7 coming out next month, I think. Tetris 99 is a huge hit for Nintendo. I mean, I love it. I mean, I can't stop playing Tetris right now. So
no,
it's great.
It's completely taken over my life. It's really bad. It's really bad.
Yeah, me too. We'll get more of that when we talk about games we're playing. But anything else that stood out there outside of the ones that are listed, or is there something else that was listed in the Direct that I didn't announce that you were like, oh, this was really cool too?
I know the Oninaki looks cool.
Oh.
That's it's going to be an RPG.
Yes.
Oh. That's cool. I guess I missed that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch the Direct either. I just kind of watched bits and pieces of it.
You're just going off somebody else's highlights.
Yeah, exactly. I watched bits and pieces of it. I just didn't watch the whole thing, which is only like 33 minutes long, but I still didn't watch it all.
Yeah.
Platinum Games announced another game, which I thought was weird. Because Platinum Games, I feel like they're making so many games at any one point. They just never stop. It's crazy. Because they're supposedly making Bayonetta 3. And that was announced like, what, a year and a half, 2 years ago?
Yeah, but the director left. The director left from Platinum Games that was working on Bayonetta.
Oh, really? So they probably had to restart some of the development there?
Yeah, I think so.
But that's crazy. Like, how big is Platinum Games? They must be huge. They crank games out all the time, it seems like. It's just weird to me.
Yeah, but not all of them are hits. That's the crazy thing. It's like they'll come up with like a great game like Bayonetta, and then they'll come up with like Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which I was super excited about, and then it wasn't good. And then they come up with that Transformers game, which was pretty decent. And then they'll have another game. What was the other one that was like kind of a flop? There was another flop game that they came out with.
There's like Korra, or the Last Airbender spinoff.
Oh yeah. So yeah, it's weird. It's they have so many games they're coming out with, and it's like, I don't know. It's weird.
I was surprised at how meaty this Direct was, which was nice to see. Like, I wasn't expecting like so many. Like when you look at the bulleted list, it's pretty impressive.
Well, I wasn't expecting Hellblade to come out. That's for sure.
Yes, that game's fantastic. It's a fantastic game. I would highly recommend that game.
I know, and you put headphones on, it's supposed to be fantastic.
Yes, headphones I would highly recommend, but if you don't have them, that's fine. You don't have to play every game with headphones, but it's got this good ambiance to it.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Like, I listened to the soundtrack of it, or got about halfway through it, and like, I know the point of the game is that it's made in cooperation with people who experience hallucinations and psychosis.
Yeah.
And so in the soundtrack, it's like there's all these voices whispering like the whole time.
Yeah.
And I could only do it for a little bit, and I was like, I can't. I need for them to shut up.
Yeah. I think in a soundtrack that would be hard.
Yeah.
It was making me crazy. So I don't know. And honestly, it put me off the game a little bit. And I know that's the point of the game, and they're supposed to be disturbing, but
Yeah, I think the game itself, I feel like the soundtrack would be weird to listen to. I listen to soundtracks as kind of like either background noise or just something to actually enjoy rather than putting me in a specific mood when I'm doing something, I guess. Mm-hmm. And with Hellblade, there isn't music playing all the time. It's just kind of like little whispers that'll creep in here and there. And there's a lot of silence that lets you kind of sit in a moment a lot better.
Wow.
So it's not just like voices all the time, if that's what the soundtrack was like.
Kind of.
Oh.
There was a lot of them. Like the soundtrack came out, I think, did it come out on vinyl? Now I don't remember. But I remember it came out and like everybody on Twitter was like, oh, it's so great. I can't wait to get this. So I was like, oh, I better listen to it. And yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's weird that they would put the voices in there, though. I mean, I kind of understand it, but then, I mean, if it's all the time, it kind of takes away from the music itself and then takes away from the game, too. Because, like, I think that's the whole thing with the game is that if you're experiencing it visually and, walking through the game, like, I think that would be so different. I don't know. It's weird that they added that.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't surprise me that Christian says most of the game is quiet because there really didn't seem to be much to the soundtrack.
Yeah. Game's great though. I really like how it's like this indie thing that feels like a AAA title because it's made in Unreal Engine, and it looks really good for the most part. But when I was playing it, I was like, this is weird. This feels like a AAA game, and a small studio made this in a small amount of time, and it's pretty linear, and it's so it's feasible that a smaller studio would be able to work on something like that. But you don't see something like this very often. And I was watching a speed run of Hellblade, and it's funny because there are specific physics glitches that are really amusing. Like there's one where what they do is if you pause the game while your character is moving, they'll maintain that momentum when you unpause and pause again. So basically what they do is there's like doors that are shut that you need to do things to unlock. And so what they do is they move the character forward so that they lurch forward to open the door unsuccessfully, but they lurch forward, and then you just like pause over and over again. And if you do that really fast, your character will keep the momentum and just phase through the door. Or if you're walking up a ladder, then if you pause and unpause right when you're about to pull yourself up, you'll float in midair. And so there's one part where they skip like 33% of the game by pausing and unpausing while climbing up a ladder, and then they float like super high in the sky, and then they like walk in midair like over to the area that they want to be at. So they just skip a whole sequence. But
that's so
like
bizarre.
That stuff wasn't clear at all to me my first playthrough. Like it's a surprisingly polished thing for an indie studio, but I found it really amusing that there's still those little nuggets in there.
Yeah, that's funny. They won award last year at the award show for best voice actor, I think, right?
That sounds right. Yeah, she did an excellent job too. I think she was just like a developer or something like that, and the actress that they hired didn't show up that day or something like that, so they just suited her up and she did great.
Wow, that's crazy. Anything else? Do you guys have anything else for the news?
I know you do, Blue. I had it in mind in case you didn't. Go ahead, it's all yours.
So that Hornet DLC for Hollow Knight actually turned out to be a sequel announcement. And now we're getting,
really?
Yes, now we're getting Hollow Knight Silksong.
Yes. Full sequel.
Oh, a full sequel.
Yes. Isn't that
awesome? That's crazy. That is awesome. Wow. I had to play the first one some more.
Yes, you do. But the trailer's already out and it looks awesome.
Yeah.
When's it coming out? Is it coming out this
No
year?
release date.
Oh, no release date yet. That's cool. That's awesome. Like, so are you disappointed though that there's not like a DLC though? I mean, does that kind of disappoint you, or not really?
No, not really.
Okay.
Yeah, Hollow Knight's huge. I mean, you can get plenty of enjoyment out of that still.
Yeah, I still haven't gotten my full 112 or 113%, whatever it is. So,
Christian, have you platinumed that game yet?
No, I played it on PC, so no
did?
trophies,
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Okay.
But yeah, I was really pleasantly surprised to see that just like months after I finished Hollow Knight, boom, a full-blown sequel was announced, which is crazy. And it seems like they're doing a thing that I wish more video game studios would do, which is something that that Far Cry New Dawn seemed to be doing, which is that they're making a sequel, but they don't feel the need to completely revamp or remake their engine. So it seems like they're able to make these assets within this framework that they're already familiar with and provide us with more great content without having the weight that's associated with building all these tools from the ground up, which seems really good, really rad.
See, that's interesting that you say that, because I said, I don't know if I made this comment on Twitter or if I made this comment in a podcast or made a comment to somebody, but I said the same thing about why indie developers are coming out with a lot more like free DLCs because of that exact point. That they don't have to rebuild their whole engine, they don't have to rebuild the world. They're just like taking elements from that, as the basis now, right? Where like a bigger a AAA studio might like say, okay, well, we're gonna do something brand new and like just start from scratch. Maybe they'll use some of the same stuff, like the same like framework or whatever, but not like where indie developers, and it also gives them the ability, indie developers, to keep, if they keep coming out with like free DLC, to keep the game fresh and new and keep them on the minds of players. So it's interesting that you said that about the sequel part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's easier to build on your biggest success than try to do something new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And then you could be J.K. Rowling and writing Harry Potter stories forever.
Yeah. It's funny, not to go off too much of a topic. Do you know that she wrote under a pen name?
Yes. I have that book. It's
Oh,
boring.
you do? You don't like it?
It's so boring.
Yeah. My wife kind of said the same thing. She said it wasn't bad, but they came up with a TV series based on that. Did you know that?
Weird.
British TV is different. They like different things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny that she just didn't want to be and I get it. She didn't want to be associated with Harry Potter forever, but somebody
she
found
doesn't
out.
mind it so much now.
Probably not. Yeah. So anything else from the news?
No.
All right, then we will go on to listeners' feedback. So, listeners, if you'd like to reach out to us and give us some feedback about the show or about our topics we're talking about, you can reach out to us. Christian, how can they reach us?
You can reach us on Twitter at GamerHeadsPC.
Yeah, did I screw this up there? That's not how we normally do this, is it?
He's usually ready to go, with the little.
Yeah, I usually am. I don't know what the deal is.
You can send us an email.
Yeah, at info@gamerheadspodcast.com.
And you can go to our website at gamerheadspodcast.com. And then how can they reach us on Facebook as well?
Facebook.com/gamerheadspodcast.
There we go. So last week, we talked about the popularity of Apex Legends and EA's online woes, and if battle royales are the equivalent to reality TV shows for video games. So this is some of your response. Blue, do you want to take the first one there?
Sure. This comes from Retro Game Brews on Twitter, and they said, I actually like the gameplay better than most FPS games with copious amounts of respawning. You have to be more strategic and stealthy. The items are randomly scattered, one death and you're out. So it feels like a bigger accomplishment when you win.
Yeah. Christian, you want to take the next one?
Sure, this one's at the True Donnie?
Donnie G.
Donnie G. That's it. Donnie G. They tweeted, they do seem to offer up the most entertainment. Have you seen any rage videos on YouTube? Most of them are the result of some multiplayer FPS battle royale game. I can't tell you the amount of times I've seen someone hit desk or monitor or cam in frustration, and it brings me joy.
If you want to watch some rage, go to twitch.tv/GamerHeads podcast, and you can watch my latest video of me playing Tetris 99, and I may accidentally have dropped the F-bomb in that video. I know, I didn't mean to. And then I caught myself, but I was really pissed, and it was not fun, and I was really mad. So.
Yeah. See, my personal favorite rage video is, I don't know if you guys saw it, it's a guy playing Cuphead. And he's in the, I forget her name, but the dessert boss, like the one who's made of candy or whatever. And in that level, there's the little jelly beans that run every so often along the bottom. And so he's like, okay, I'm going to get it this time. And then the jelly bean gets him. And then he like throws his controller and goes on this tirade screaming about jelly beans. It's really funny.
That's wonderful.
I'll have to watch that now. This next one comes from Claymation Nation, and they tweeted, Battle Royales is like if when World of Warcraft really caught on. Everyone demanded MMO games modes in on all of their favorite games. It's getting ridiculous, but I still don't think the best one has released yet. Oh, because you know why? This question was posed to them before Tetris 99 was released.
Wow.
I don't know, it's funny. Because, like, on Twitter, when that came out, like, 90% of people are like, oh my gosh, that's so awesome. And, like, 10% of people are like, are you kidding me? Battle Royale Tetris, that's so stupid.
Interesting.
So, yeah, who knows?
Yeah. Well, you know, I don't know. Like, I thought the same. I'm like, really, Battle Royale Tetris? But it's really good. It is really good. It is fantastically done. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Battle Royale Dr. Mario now.
Wow.
That would be amazing.
That would be amazing. Do you want to take the next one, Blue?
Sure. This is from @Zamzara, and they said, quick and easy to produce? Check. All splash and no substance? Check. Fun to talk about? Check. Easily replaceable? Check. You only play /watch because your friends do? Check. So I think you might be onto something.
That is true. Like, they are easily replaceable. Like, it's like, you know, we talked about it last week, but I will say the thing that I saw come around Twitter about Tetris 99 said, bye-bye, Apex Legends. Hello, Tetris 99. And then, Christian, you want to take the last one there?
Sure. @Darkwind PT tweeted, it's just the latest fad. In 2 years, a new game genre will take its place. Maybe.
I don't know.
How long has Fortnite been big? It's been a couple of years, isn't it?
It has been. Yeah.
Yeah. And before that, you had PUBG. But I don't know how long PUBG was around before Fortnite. Like maybe a year, maybe half a year, something like that. It wasn't that long, right? I feel like it was probably a year. I don't feel like it was really a long time.
About a year seems about right.
Yeah. So, I don't know, 3 years, 3 or 4 years, I think.
Yeah, that's impressive. That's more legs than a lot of people thought the genre had.
Yeah, true. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that people are streaming this stuff, and it really is, like, that's what people like to watch. There's, like, because I think part of it is that there's no story, so you don't feel like you're ruining anybody's experience for playing a single-player game. And true. The story is really driven around the people playing the game. It's really about them and not so much about the story itself or the game itself.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on then to our push select or select menu review section. And so Christian, you reviewed Far Cry New Dawn.
That I did. And it's a Far Cry game. So, background on the series. I talked about Far Cry 5 on the podcast, a handful of months ago. I've played every main entry, 1, 2, 3, 4, Primal, 5, and I enjoy them. I enjoy playing Far Cry games. I like I said before, becoming a well-oiled killing machine. I like climbing through those skill trees, becoming more and more powerful. I like liberating those outposts and sniping 17 dudes in the head and nobody knows what happened by the time I completed it, and getting those nice resources, leveling stuff up. And that's exactly what Far Cry New Dawn is. And I mentioned this when we were talking about the Hollow Knight sequel. I was kind of excited for Far Cry New Dawn in a weird way. I really liked what they did with Far Cry Primal, with it being like this weird spin-off sequel thing, and that seemed to be what New Dawn was, but it came in at $40, which I was like, okay. I felt the discount came from the fact that they were like clearly reusing the map and reusing the setting and reusing the engine that largely wouldn't have changed all that much. So I felt that's kind of where the $20 price difference came from, but it appears that $20 price difference actually came into like the wealth of content that they have here, because it's not the entire Far Cry 5 map, it's like this one section of it. And when I realized that, I was like, oh no, I'm already almost done. Come on. And I zoomed out and I look out at my completion list. I'm like, I'm already like 80% done with this game? No, I'm sad because I feel this Far Cry New Dawn is made for one specific type of person, and that person is me. I'm the person who has played through all the other Far Cry games, and I still enjoy the formula, and I still want more, and that is not a lot of people, because a lot of people have Far Cry 4 or Far Cry 5 just sitting on their shelf, unplayed, just sitting there waiting for them, and you would be far better served popping that thing in, dusting it off, and enjoying a fully fledged Far Cry experience than you would be spending $40 today on Far Cry New Dawn, which doesn't really do much different.
Oh, wow, that's interesting, and it's I mean, it's kind of good and kind of bad, I guess, in a way. I mean, like, it sounds like for people that really like the experience, it sounds like it's more of like a DLC than a full-fledged game.
Yeah, I mean, right now I've spent like 15 hours in it, and I'm trying to get all the platinum trophy stuff. So I'm going through trying to 100% it, and that'll probably not take me much more than 20 hours. So yeah, it does seem like at some point it might have been a standalone DLC thing, but they've got like 5 Far Cry 5 DLCs. So maybe one of their ideas just blew up and became this thing. And it's all right, is that? I mean, it's going to go on discount pretty quickly here, like every Far Cry game does. Like, Far Cry 5 came out for $60 last year, and I got it, like, I sat on it for a handful of months, and I picked it up for $15, like I do with pretty much every Ubisoft game. I did that with Assassin's Creed Odyssey last year, also got it for $15. So if you need another Far Cry, then you can wait, and it'll go on a discount. You'll be fine.
So do you think it's in aligns with what was the one that was like the 1980s kind of look and feel to it?
Blood Dragon? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, Blood Dragon.
It does not. No, Blood Dragon's very self-aware. Blood Dragon's like this 80s love letter, very tongue-in-cheek, very, and this is like a Far Cry 5 sequel, so there's some very serious melodramatic stuff in there, which is weird because this takes place right after Far Cry 5, which, spoiler alert, at the end of Far Cry 5, nukes hit Hope County, Montana, and so the father was right all along. There's this apocalypse that's going to happen, and it happens at the end. And what I didn't like about the New Dawn story is that it like feels the need to continue Far Cry 5's story, which was like, not very interesting, and a lot of people didn't like it, and it made it seem like it was going to be this controversial thing when it had nothing to say. And New Dawn just like follows the characters, a couple characters that were in Far Cry 5, and I wanted New Dawn to just be its own thing, because it's like this post-apocalyptic thing. It looks really pretty. There's like this, after the apocalypse, you've got all of these lush vegetation. You got all these nice pink and white flowers. It's got this good visual aesthetic. A lot of these stark white deer roaming the landscape. And then you've got these highwaymen that are like typical Mad Max stuff. They blare music, and then they come at you with motorcycle helmets and stuff. So I like the aesthetic, but I feel like they could have done more interesting things with the story too.
Yeah.
I like how he was subtly throwing backlog shade.
Yeah.
I know, right? And you know who he was talking to? He was talking to me, because like, I have those games collecting dust.
Do ya? Yeah.
You losers who can't keep up with your backlogs.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I heard too.
No, I've got a mile-long backlog too, and I spent it playing another Far Cry game. I should be equally ashamed.
But Christian, haven't you hit your 100th platinum now?
I did.
Yeah.
Is this a
Streamers
segue
fell
into
from
games
the
we're playing?
sky.
Yeah, this will be a segue into game we're playing. So, but before we go into games we're playing, what was your final score on this game?
I think it was a 68, which is not terrible. I mean, I liked this game, I feel, more than most people will, because most people, they play Far Cry 4 or 5, they bounce off. They play for a little bit, and they're like, okay, it's Far Cry. And, that's this. Far Cry New Dawn's more Far Cry, and, I mean, if you want more of that, it's sitting there waiting for you.
And where can you find your review?
It's at newgamenetwork.com.
Nice. All right, yeah, let's move into games that we are currently playing. So, Blue, why don't you start us off? What games are you currently playing?
Sure. Okay, so you want to know what I'm currently playing or what I'm supposed to be playing?
Maybe a little bit of both.
So this week I neglected everything that I'm supposed to be playing, and I did the Nintendo Direct trifecta, if you will. So I played the Yoshi's Crafted World demo.
Yeah?
And oh my gosh, it's so freaking cute. The detail on everything in that demo is amazing, and all the textures, it's all, paper and yarn and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's so fun. I cannot wait for that full game.
Did you play the Wally World? Did you play that game? Oh, okay.
Wally World.
Isn't it what?
Woolly World. Yoshi's Woolly World.
Woolly World. Sorry. Woolly World.
No, if that was probably on the Wii, wasn't it? Or Wii U?
It was Wii U, yeah. And 3DS.
Yeah. So, yeah. Neither of which I have, so no.
Oh. I was just going to ask how it relates to that. So, but yeah, this looks cool. It looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then what was the other games you've been playing?
And then I played Demon X Machina.
How was that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah? Was that good?
It's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's not a genre that I get excited about anyway.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it seemed fine. My biggest thing that I took away from it was just that your mech suit, it feels really slow.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I don't know if that's just because you're in this big open area, so when you're flying, it seems visually like you're not going anywhere. But yeah, that's just, I think it'll be great to have, so that Nintendo can have something for the, Destiny Anthem crowd.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I feel like there's people out there who are just way into mechs and Gundams, and I wish I was one of those people.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish I was, but unfortunately I'm not. We see it bleeding into the mainstream a little bit. Like Titanfall was probably the first high-profile example where you're calling in these Titans that are basically mechs, and we still see it a little bit with like Anthem and stuff like that, but not this like crazy over-the-top, you're flying around in this giant robot slashing at stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you a fan of Robotech, either of you?
I've played it, but I didn't get into it very much.
No, not really.
The cartoons and the books, no?
Oh, never mind. I was thinking of a different GameCube robot mech game. Never mind.
Yeah. Mech suits is just not my thing, regardless of the media.
What about Voltron? Are you a fan of Voltron?
Oh, boy.
I'm sorry, Roger.
Oh my
God!
God!
You're gonna have to accept this about me.
Yeah, my 7-year-old version of me is like crying now. Like...
Oh man.
What else?
I hope
What
we can
else?
still be friends, 7-year-old Roger.
Well, I will say this: my 7-year-old self was kind of a brat anyway, so you don't really want to be friends with him anyway.
Okay.
I will say this. The game that you're going to talk about next, I will say that I hope you can still be friends with me because I am not as good as you. So, what is the last game you're playing?
Tetris 99!
Yeah!
Yeah!
What is your best place in that game so far?
I can't get higher than third.
What? That's awesome!
I know, but, yeah, I don't know. Then again, you got people on Twitter like, oh, I got my 10th victory tonight. I'm like,
oh,
okay, you can shut right up.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
So, what controller are you playing with?
I am playing with the Joy-Cons, and then I have them in my little... What is that little thing called that comes with the Switch?
Joy-Con grip?
The Trigon
Trigon.
grip. Yeah, whatever that thing is called. That's what I'm playing with.
Yeah. Okay, so I've been playing with the Pro Controller, and I think I need to switch to the Joy-Cons. Because you play with the D-pad.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And you press up to do the hard drop.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And the thing with the Pro Controller, like the whole time I just thought that because I grew up playing NES Tetris, that I'd just gotten like lazy in how I control, because in the NES Tetris, the up doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
And so I thought I had just gotten into the habit of like sliding my thumb left and right instead of actually like picking it up and, pressing.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I'm playing Tetris 99 with the Pro Controllers, I get hard drops all the time when I don't mean to. And it just screws me so bad. Like, forget the other players.
Yeah.
I'm the one who's hurting myself. And so, like, I've spent all week retraining myself to be precise with my D-pad. And then I come to find out everybody else who plays with the Pro Controller has this problem. It's not me.
Oh.
Because it's so sensitive that if you even just go up a little bit,
I see.
You'll get the hard drop. And so that's why I need to switch to the Joy-Cons, because it's not a one-piece D-pad. There's the 4 individual buttons.
Yeah.
So if I make that change, I might go
first place.
To first.
You're going to be the one tweeting, I got my 10th, 11th, 12th, 15th first place wins.
Like, all you guys can suck it now.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll still be sitting over here saying, my best is 10th place. I can't beat that. Yeah. I know. You and Mike were like, oh, I got 4th. I got 3rd. I'm like, I got 28th. That was pretty good. And then I got 10th, and I was super happy. And you guys were like, good for you. And I'm like, yeah, shut up. That game is really addicting, isn't it? Like, because how quickly you can jump right into another match, it's crazy.
Yeah, the matchmaking is really on point, I think.
Yeah. And they're coming out with new modes. Did you see that? They're going to have team battle modes, and they're going to have computer, you versus 100 bots, computer players.
Oh, that sounds...
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting. Anything else, Blue?
Nope, those 3. Mostly the Tetris 99, but yeah, those 3.
Yeah, nice. What about you, Christian? What have you been playing?
So, as you mentioned, Roger, I dumped like 50 more hours into Kingdom Hearts 3 in order to finally get my 100th Platinum Trophy. I did it. It's done. I played a lot of Kingdom Hearts 3 over the past couple weeks. I played the post-game. So I was done with the story, transition into the post-game. And boy, post-game feels good. I like Kingdom Hearts post-game. It feels good to have all these checklists, and I'm just picking one, going through it. Picking the next one, going through it. So, like getting all the crafting items. I got to craft every single item on the list, including the Ultima weapon. And I get this awesome weapon that I get to just obliterate enemies with. It feels good. And then I've got this secret boss at the end. Okay, so... most Kingdom Hearts games, they'll have a secret boss at the end. And most of them are lore relevant. They're like little lore secret bosses that usually have something to do with the next game in the series. This Kingdom Hearts 3 did not have a lore relevant secret boss, but it did have a secret boss. And in the previous Kingdom Hearts, these secret bosses are tough. These post-game bosses they'll give you a run for your money, because I only defeated them on like standard difficulty, so like the normal difficulty in the previous Kingdom Hearts games, and they were still tough. Like they were really hard. And Kingdom Hearts 2 has like 15 post-game bosses, like really tough post-game bosses.
Wow.
And those, they ride you hard. Kingdom Hearts 3 just has the one, okay? And so I was like, all right, maybe this will be a challenge. I'm ready for a challenge in Kingdom Hearts 3. Maybe this will be it. So I get myself ready. I get to level 99. I get the Ultima weapon crafted. I get food. So in Kingdom Hearts 3, Remy's there, Remy from Ratatouille, and you cook food with him, and then you eat the food, and then you get buffs to stuff like your attack damage, your magic damage, your defense, your HP. And I used it for the first time for this final boss battle. So I ate beforehand, and I'm like, okay, let's do this. I'm going to fight this final boss. And he barely touched my health bar, and I mowed through his 20 health bars in under a minute. And I was like, okay, Kingdom Hearts 3 is very easy. And I hope they patch in a proud mode. I hope that happens at some point, because I would... Or not proud mode, critical mode. Because I would absolutely go back through the game and play through it on critical, because of... I just wanted a challenge, and the game, they had an opportunity to give me one. But it wasn't hard enough.
I can't believe that bad guy wasn't a challenge after you leveled up to 99 and had food buffers had the ultimate weapon. I can't believe that. That's unreasonable. Yeah.
I had to retry the post-game bosses in Kingdom Hearts 2 like 50 times each with the Ultima weapon at level 99 with like optimized abilities for each separate boss. And here I just rolled into it. I was like, in Kingdom Hearts 2, I had to like meticulously equip and unequip specific abilities so that I could recover in a certain manner based on certain attack animations that boss would do. And in Kingdom Hearts 3, I was like, okay, I'm just going to give it one quick shot. And if I fail, I'm going to toy around with it, figure out what abilities I do and don't need. And I just obliterated it. I was like, oh, okay, I guess it's done now.
So was that anticlimactic when you got that little ding for your platinum trophy? Like, did you just feel like I didn't really earn it? Or
it felt good because I was spending, 70 hours in this thing. I had to do every side activity. I had to collect all of the synthesis materials. I had to do everything. I got the best gummy ship in the game, and the gummy ship stuff feels fantastic when you finally get the best ship in the game, and then it just breaks everything. It's beautiful. I love it. I love breaking the gummy ship missions because they wouldn't be as effective if you didn't kind of like struggle through them in the beginning. And because you do, you start out with like this kind of crappy gummy ship, and then you get the really good one, and then you just look at something and it's dead. It's so nice.
Yeah.
So
the gummy ships are so much better in this one.
I can see why you would say that, Blue. I am partial to Kingdom Hearts 2, and Kingdom Hearts 2 is my favorite. I like the Star Fox sections. I feel like in Kingdom Hearts 3, they have sections that are like the Star Fox sections where you have to fight a bunch of Heartless, but they're against like these weird backdrops, and they don't really, like, there's a couple bosses there. Like, there's a final gummy ship boss that's kind of interesting to fight, but I was disappointed, Blue, in the gummy ships.
Well, that much is clear.
Yeah.
That the enemies just can't hold up to your expectations. And
yeah, I guess you're right.
Or have you gotten better at games, Christian? I mean, have you got because of have you just gotten better?
He just finished another playthrough.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 2, I played through all of those bosses about a year ago.
Okay. Wow. So Christian, if I ever form an esports team,
yeah, Christian's just on another level. That's all it is.
Yeah. See, do you see why I get super excited when I beat him at any game? Like when I beat him.
I'm more of a jack of all trades, Roger.
At Super Smash Brothers, like that was awesome.
You did. You got me good.
Once, and then I think I beat you once, maybe once in Mario Kart. I think once. I think one race. I think I beat you.
I think you did. I think you're right, Roger.
And I think that was it. I think my record against you is 1 and 120 or something like that. But I have that one victory over you.
You say I'd be on your esports team, Roger, but I feel like my skill set isn't necessarily applicable to something like esports, because esports, you got to be very, very good at one specific thing. Like people in esports with like Dota 2, they have freaky fast hands when it comes to the mouse and the keyboard. And me, I am competent at most things, but not excessively skilled at anything. Because there's people out there who break the crap out of Kingdom Hearts 2 in a way that makes me jealous.
So,
I still would pick
you. If you just spent instead of 40 hours across many games,
that's
if
true.
you just spent your 40 hours a week on one game, I bet you'd get there.
That's
Maybe.
True. That's true. Or
that's a nice compliment.
Or he'll break himself trying, at least. One of the two would happen. Either you can become really awesome. Anything else, Christian?
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned Smash Bros, Roger, because you beat me in Smash Bros that one time.
One time.
I feel like I have gotten to the end of my single-player run of Smash Bros. I only played it multiplayer like a handful of times, and it's my most played game on Switch now because of the single-player content. There's a lot of single-player there. And
Wow.
I officially have all 1,303 spirits. I officially 100% of the adventure mode, and I officially cleared every single challenge in the challenge board. And I can be done, satisfied, and I can move on playing Smash Bros. Ultimate as a multiplayer thing. And it feels good.
Man, that's...
I have never 100% anything. I just want to put that out there.
I envy you, Blue. I wish those things didn't just nag at me in the background sometimes.
The closest I got was Ni no Kuni, and I got to 99%. And then it was just
Wow.
all the crafting,
Yep.
which meant farming ingredients forever. And I was like, I'm not going to do that.
How much time did you spend on Ni no Kuni? Because that's a long game.
It is a long game. I played it a long time. I forget the exact number. I'd have to pull open this PS3 and look. But yeah, it was a long time.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, but
crazy.
I mean, as soon as the tasks become just more about mindless grinding than actual meaningful content, then I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, that's a good call, Blue. Because when I played through Ni no Kuni, I just played it through just beginning to end, and that took me like 50 hours. And that like further made me be like, there's no way I'm going for all these trophies, because you got to get all those spirits and grind all those suckers up, and you got to do hyper specific grinding stuff, and that's not my cup of tea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that has a lot of excellent post game content.
It does.
I like that one.
Good stuff.
Wow.
Other than Smash,
yeah,
I played some Anthem.
Oh my god.
So I played a handful of hours of Anthem.
You are insane. I just want to say that. Can I just say that? You are an insane gamer. I just want to say that right now.
Okay. I guess that's a compliment. Thank you, Roger.
It is a compliment.
So I played some Anthem, courtesy of Origin Access Premier. So if you've seen this Anthem release chart, you see these rows of checkboxes that tell you when you can play the game based on what version you got. And so I was like, why not? I'll try out Anthem for $15 a month. You can get this Origin Access Premier. And what that is, it's basically like Game Pass. You get access to every EA exclusive and a bunch of other EA games, plus all the DLC related with them. And I was like, okay, I don't want to spend $60 on Anthem. It didn't really look very appealing to me. And so I did the trial so that I could try it out before, slapping down my money. And a few hours in, it seems to be a technical mess.
Oh no.
It runs very poorly.
To hear that after the
yeah.
demo.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. Yeah, because apparently the first day that it became accessible, the servers, were on fire again, so you couldn't even play. And then I got on, and like I get through the introduction cutscenes, and then I finally get control of my character, and everything's good, all hunky-dory, and then the sound goes out. And I'm like, okay, what the heck? I check on other things on my computer, sound's working fine. I restart the game, and then the sound's fine. So I'm like, okay, sound's working again. I play for another 3 hours, sound goes out again. And I'm like, okay, come on, guys. What's the deal here? There's something's going on with the sound in that game. Something's going on with, like, latency. Lag is really, really bad. And I played, like, another game directly afterwards, and I don't think it's my connection. Something's really bad. Like, you can match in with other players, and so I was playing in a 4-player party. And the game would just outright stop for like a minute at a time because I couldn't, I guess the internet wasn't up to snuff on someone's end. So that was ridiculous. And it just like struggling through the loading times are very long. It's like 3-4 minutes just to get into the hub area. Oh my gosh, it's insane. The UI is like bizarrely complicated. With all the video games I've played, I do not understand how to navigate this UI. I tried to pick my first mission, and I spent like 10 minutes trying to figure out how to start this mission. Because I go into this map, and I click on the mission, and I'm like, go, go, go. I tried clicking on the mission like 15 times. I'm like, is this an internet issue? What's happening? Turns out I had to back out. I had to click on the mission I wanted, back out of that menu, back out of the map menu. And then, after I backed out of another menu, then I could deploy. And then I clicked on deploy, and then it matched me with other people, and it was a lag fest. So I don't know. I'm only a couple hours in, but I'm having a hard time motivating myself to play more Anthem when it's running this poorly. Hopefully, they'll get some of that ironed out. Maybe that's what this Origin Access Premier thing is for all of us to just be another set of late beta testers to hopefully get this thing off the ground. But I can see how people can enjoy it. I mean, the gameplay itself is what I picture people describing the Destiny 1 gameplay as in a bad way. So I remember when Destiny 1 came out, everyone was like, all you do is deploy your ghost and defend a point forever. And the first 2 hours of Anthem are finding little things, putting them on a thing, and then defending. And that's fine, I guess. I mean, if you like shooting stuff, it gives you an excuse to shoot stuff, but that's yeah. It's
a lot of people like to shoot stuff.
They do. And, I mean, there's a lot of that to do in Anthem, I'm sure, but it hasn't felt good with my 4-year-old PC that I'm currently running with.
That's too bad. Well, not shocking.
Yeah.
It was expected, but too bad.
Yeah,
Yes.
too bad, yeah. Anything else?
Nope, that's it for me, Roger.
For myself, outside of Tetris 99, which I absolutely am loving, I've been playing a lot of Stardew Valley, actually.
Oh.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, and so I got turned down at the flower dance, by
Aw.
everybody, including all the men. Nobody wanted to even talk to me or touch me. But now,
Yikes.
so then I made it a mission. I'm like, screw this. I'm going to win somebody over. So I played video games with Abigail. And we beat the first level together. She couldn't beat the game, and I helped her beat the level, and she was super happy. And then Emily had a dream about me. That's right.
Wow.
She had a dream about me. So things are going to be different next year, people. Things are going to be totally different at the next flower dance. I'm going to be the people that are going to want to dance with me. They're going to be fighting over me. Yes. So
Just
I'm
like
going
real
to
life.
change, just like in real life. Actually, the
See,
flower
I mean-
dance that happened in the game is actually real life. So that's
Oh.
and as you're telling this story, I'm sitting here going, why do people like this game?
Well, it's funny, because now you can play multiplayer, Blue. So
we
Steve,
can go to the dance together and be rejected?
yes, and that's exactly what happened. Steve, one of our coworkers, we've been playing this game together, and he's been focusing on just the farming aspect. When we went to the dance together, we both got rejected, and he's like, see, this sucks. And I said, this is not going to happen to me next year. So then I've been focusing on my relationship building, and he's like, we should be like planting blueberries and doing all this stuff. I'm like, Steve, I got hearts to win. I don't have time for that. And so that's what I've been doing.
Oh my gosh.
This game is so awesome. And then I found Penny's mom, the drunkard that drives the school bus.
Oh, right, I remember.
Yeah, I have been giving her some beer. She's been very happy with me. She likes me because of
Jeez.
that. But Christian, things have to be done in this world, and I'm the one to do it, okay? So
I guess. Jeez. That's like utilitarianism. That's like associating happiness with moral well-being, Roger. That's a dangerous road to go down.
that's right. I'm making this the good place for all these people.
Okay.
If you get the reference, you'll get the reference if you watch the show. But anyway, so that's what I've been doing. I've been playing a lot of Tetris and a lot of Stardew Valley.
You're an interesting creature, Roger.
Yeah,
I know.
I'll agree with that.
Steve did say to me, does your wife know about these people that you've been giving gifts to?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's my, sense of inclusion. I want to be included on things. I don't know. But anyway, that's what I've been playing. So let's take a break here. And when we come back, we'll go into our hot topic. So stay tuned. And welcome back to GamerHeads. This week's topic actually revolves around Nintendo Direct. It was a Mike's idea, so too bad Mike's not here to discuss it with us, but he gave us an idea. With Link's Awakening announced for $60, the remake, our topic is, are full-priced remakes asking too much? So, I have a couple questions here that I'd like to consider. So the first one being that the $60 price point, what makes remakes so expensive. So remakes are different than remasters, right? I mean, there is a difference between those two. A remake is like really building it from the ground up, where a remastered is taking it and or am I wrong?
Yes.
I'm
that
wrong?
seems right. I
Yes,
feel like
you're wrong.
Yes, you're wrong.
developers play fast and loose with these definitions, but for the most part, I'd say yes, that is correct.
So I just saw a couple screenshots of Link's Awakening, and it does look like way better. And they're talking about having multiplayer in this game, which doesn't make sense to me.
Interesting.
But I guess what makes remakes so expensive then? Why are they so much more expensive than just saying, hey, this game already came out 20 years ago, or 30 years ago or whatever, and here it is again.
Well, is it really because it's that expensive to do, or just because they feel they can get away with charging that much?
Yeah.
Considering it's a Zelda game, I'm going to say they know they can get away with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to say. With the Resident Evil 2 remake that came out not too long ago, that thing came out at $60, and that was a price point that kind of threw me through a loop, and it made me like reconceptualize how it is I look at these remakes, because Resident Evil 2 remake, got a lot of hype around it. It looked great. I mean, they clearly weren't using those same PlayStation 1 assets, but it's a 90s game that they're remaking into a 2019 game and selling for $60.
Yeah.
And I guess there's like a part of my brain that has a hard time making that value leap, where the original for like Resident Evil 2 I played through a couple months ago and picked it up for like $12. And the original Link's Awakening is available on the Virtual Console for 3DS for $6. So they're charging 10 times the price of the original for this remake that they're doing. And that's hard for me to reconcile. Like, it looks like Link Between Worlds, a similar art style as Link Between Worlds, and that was $40 because that's what 3DS games launch at, I think, $40 or $50. So it's hard for my brain to reconcile that value proposition.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. So what do you think it needs to be included in a remake to allow for such an expensive price point? Like what I guess, because my point, I mean, I agree with you, Christian. If it's the same story, it's just better graphics, I'm not sure if I need to buy a remake then. Mm-hmm. But if there's things that are included that are different, what I guess, and I look at like Resident Evil 2, and I see, like, granted, obviously the graphics are updated, but there is something different about the game. Even the story is the same, but just the way that you play the game is just different, and it's a lot scarier than the second one was scary, but man, this is way scarier. I guess what needs to be included for you or both of you, for you to allow that price point to be at what it is?
See, and I'm sitting here while you guys are talking, trying to even think of remakes specifically as opposed to remasters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's
trying
hard
to think if I've ever bought one. I don't think that I have.
Did you get the Ratchet and Clank original remake?
No.
Have you ever bought remastered games ever?
Yeah. I got the Kingdom Hearts 1.5,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
2.5,
yeah.
and then the story so far, which I mean, I don't know if those are really remasters so much as just putting them all together in one place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see, I did get the Final Fantasy 12 Zodiac Age.
Oh, yeah,
that's
I did
a remaster,
too.
but
Yeah,
it's
that's a
got
remaster.
extra content.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And same with Final Fantasy X. That has extra content.
Yeah.
But it's still just a remaster. I mean, yeah, basically, we don't double dip in games often.
Yeah. Yeah. it's weird. Metroid 2 was remastered or remade on the 3DS not too long ago. Pokemon Soul Silver and Heart Gold, I guess, were remakes. Or I mean remasters. I mean remakes. Remakes.
I mean, even Pokemon Let's Go is a remake of the original Pokemon game, isn't it?
There you go.
And I bought that for $60.
Yeah.
There you go. See, why did you do that? You answer your own question.
So I think Blue, you're onto something. I think if there's like added content, I'll buy it. Like, for the reason I bought the Pokemon Let's Go is because you can play 2 players with it at the same time, and it's a lot like Pokemon Go. A lot of the like controls were so I was able. I love playing that game with my daughter, and it's super easy for her to play because it's not complicated. Like, they changed the mechanics enough that it's not random encounters, first of all, and secondly that it's way easier for kids to play, and 2 players playing along. It's so much fun playing with my daughter. So that's the reason I got that game. I wouldn't have bought it if it was just like, oh, we're remaking it for the Switch and it's the same exact game but better graphics. I wouldn't have bought it again.
Man, it's hard. I mean, what makes it really hard for Link's Awakening is that it's a Game Boy game.
Yes.
That they're remastering. And I mean, that game is substantial in terms of content and scope, especially for the Game Boy. And that's what made it so impressive. And that's why it's crazy that it's $6 on the 3DS eShop right now. But then they're going to charge 10 times that for better graphics and maybe a multiplayer mode.
Yeah.
That's hard for me.
Yeah. Some kind of internet multiplayer, something. I don't know. I don't know what they would be adding to make that way.
Yeah, I mean, even if it did have internet multiplayer, I don't think that's something I would play very often in a Link's Awakening game. It's weird to me that that's the case.
Yeah. Would you, if they added more content or new missions, would you play the game? Would you buy
Sure,
it?
yeah. I think if it was a remake in the sense that it looks like, based on like the 2 seconds of gameplay we've seen, that they're trying to kind of 1-to-1 recreate it into this better engine, and that's more like a remaster in my brain. Like, on the gradient from remaster to remake, that's somewhere like kind of in the middle. It's verging on remake, but not quite all the way there. If they were to like reimagine it into like this 3D thing, absolutely. Like, or like, 3D Zelda style, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Where they have to like completely reimagine how the game is structured and completely put a new perspective on everything. Absolutely. But it seems like it's just like the same perspective, and they're trying to faithfully recreate this original Link's Awakening in this new engine. And that's hard. That's hard for me to think is worth $60.
Yeah, it's really weird because like video game remakes are so different than movie remakes.
Yeah.
You think about, I don't know, the first one comes to mind, Total Recall.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
The 80s one, and then when they redid it, I mean, nobody is trying to stay very faithful. They take it and they make it their own new thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like with video game remakes, nobody dares do that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because it's too much work to completely reimagine it, or if they're afraid of what the fans will think.
Yeah. That's interesting that you say that, because then, like, I think you're onto something there, and I think that it's weird that then gamers, like, if they're too afraid of what gamers would say, right? Like, oh, this is not anything like it, like, but then you're paying $60 for the same experience you had 30 years ago, except for new graphics. Unless you've never played the game, the only thing I can think of is if, like, you want to reintroduce this game to your kids and say, hey, look at this game, like connecting, like, I don't know, like the bridge between your childhood and, like, childhood of this next generation. But
but you could do that for $6.
I know. That's what I was thinking. Like, I could do that a lot cheaper. I don't have to spend $60, and I would have more of what I'm used to versus what this newfangled dangled technology has.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's I think it's a nostalgia price.
I think so too.
Yeah, that sounds right. Too. And I think we've seen this pretty recently with Nintendo too, with Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, because that game was selling digitally on the Wii U for like $20, and as soon as they came out with the Tropical Freeze on the Switch, they added Funky Kong. Granted, they added something to it. They added an easier mode with a different character. But as soon as they did so and charged $60 for it, they took Tropical Freeze off the Wii U eShop so that you couldn't, like, they tried to erase history that game was ever $20 because they want you to pay $60 for this new game.
And it makes me wonder if the Link's Awakening on the 3DS eShop will be pulled after this game comes out.
Ooh, yikes. That would be scary.
It probably will. You should go get it right away.
I think I might have to go get it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm part of the problem, though, I admit, because I did get Tropical Freeze on the Switch. But to be fair, I've never had a Wii U.
Well, see, I think that's different. And I think that's, yeah. I mean, and that's the argument that a lot of people like will say about Nintendo, saying they keep coming out with the same games that they had on the Wii U, like, and then they charge full price for them. But I think a lot of us never had a Wii U. I never had a Wii U, right? Like, yeah,
exactly. So, I mean, in a lot of ways, I'm okay with it because everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, you never played this one game? What's wrong with you?" And it's like, well, I don't have a Wii U, so
yeah.
Now I feel like I can catch up a little bit on all these games that I've been hearing about for years.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess you could make the argument that, well, if you don't have a 3DS or a Game Boy, this is a good opportunity for you to jump in on this game. I guess.
Yeah.
It's cheaper than buying a new console, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, you could buy
3DS certainly.
Yeah, 3DS certainly. But I think you could buy like a Game Boy Advance SP for like probably like $40, $30 or $40. Well, then you have to buy the game too. But you probably could get the game for like $10 used. This is all used prices.
I know.
Used, maybe I don't know.
The Zelda games are always expensive used.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's probably pretty comparable.
Yeah, probably. But then you would have a Game Boy Advance SP, which is amazing. It's one of my favorite systems. So this is the argument that I always hear people whenever an indie game comes out for like $40, and people like I think of Monster Boy Monster Boy wasn't the new game that was Monster Boy in the Cursed Kingdom, and I mean that was the first thing I heard. It was like, oh, $40. I'm not gonna pay $40 for a non AAA game. But
that's elite of them.
It is, and I said, well, then what is the price point that you want it at? So I guess I will ask the same question here. Like, for a remake, then is $60 the right price point? I mean, it's a AAA studio. Is $60 okay then, or what's a better price point for this game for remakes?
It's hard to say, I think, without seeing the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Given the visual style, like I said, it looks very similar to Link Between Worlds to me. And so I feel like that a $40 price point would be more of a sweet spot for me. But yeah, I feel like that would be kind of the wheelhouse for a game like that.
Yeah. And I will say, like, when I bought Pokemon Let's Go, like, I spent my birthday money to buy that game, which was all my birthday money. and I wish, if it wasn't, I was like, well, this is my birthday gift to me, right, and my daughter. But if it was just me, if I didn't have birthday money, I would have probably not bought it. I would have wanted it at $40 price range, because I think that $40 price range is like the sweet spot for me.
There's also precedent for that with like Ratchet and Clank on PS4 that started out at $40, and everyone was like, okay, that seems suspect. Why are they asking $40 for this game that's supposed to be like this AAA thing, right? Why are they only asking $40? That it must not be the complete package, but that game's fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's a complete package. It's just a remake of the first Ratchet and Clank game.
That's interesting that you say that. I don't know if I told this story on this podcast or not. Or if I told you guys this, but I used to work at Best Buy, and we had the Reward Zone program, which is a program where you get points, right? And it used to be $10. You'd have to pay $10 a year for this program, and then they decided to get rid of it, of the price of the $10, and make it free for everybody. And I will tell you, more people signed up when it was $9.99 or $10 than it was free, because they're like, why is it free? What's wrong with the program? Why, but when it was $10, like, oh yeah, there's value there. I want to buy it for $10. And it's weird because it's like, no, it's the same program. Well, it can't be if it's free. No, it's the same program.
I admit that if it was free, I would think that they were just getting me to sign up so that they could sell my information.
Well, I mean,
Whereas I feel like if I was giving them $10, even though it doesn't guarantee it, but you like to think that then they're not selling your information.
Yeah. It wasn't, I wouldn't say they were selling their information, but they were using the information for marketing purposes for Best Buy themselves, right? So they understood like what your purchasing powers were and what you were buying, and then they could market to you better, which I argue, to me, I'd rather have that than them just throw spaghetti against the wall and hope that something sticks. I'd rather see ads for things that I like than just random ads, I guess. But I'd rather not see any ads, but that's not the world we live in. So if I have to see ads, I'd rather see ads that are, But I mean, I think this plays into this argument of the price point for remakes. Is if you come up with a game, I mean, that's a sticky point. If you come up with a game and say, this is going to be, $40, and people are like, well, what's wrong with it then? All other AAA games are $60. Why is this $40?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's interesting. Got to have that Nintendo Premium on it.
That is true.
If it's got that Nintendo sticker on it, it's got to be worth $140,000.
Mm-hmm. When you're playing Link's Awakening on your Switch, you want everyone to know that you paid that $60 on that game, Roger, and you earned that privilege.
That's right. Any final thoughts with... I know that wasn't like a really big topic, but I wanted to kind of talk through this. And yeah, any other final thoughts on this topic?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm not 100% opposed to paying, full price for a remake if it can prove to me it's worth it. But I know, like, as we've talked before, you get full price remakes like Resident Evil 2, but then you find out there's microtransactions in it on top of the full price. And then you're like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Even if in the end they didn't turn out to be consequential.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's talking about this. I find it very interesting how infrequently we see complete remakes of things. That's very fascinating to me. And remasters tend to be what kind of flood the market. And I feel like they've got the price point figured out a little bit better for those remasters. I mean, they'll usually come out at a price that's higher than what the original is currently going for, but you'll also have the benefit of supposedly better visuals and a better running video game that with faster loading times and whatnot. So I feel like on the remaster side of things, they've got the price point dialed in where you'll get like 3 games for like $30 or something like that.
Yeah. The remakes are still in the question, huh?
Yeah. We don't see them very often.
Yeah, I'm really struggling to think of a remake that I've bought. I can't think of one.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, listeners, I guess, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on remakes? Are they too expensive? Are they worth the full price that they're asking for? What needs to be included in a remake to make it a price point where you're willing to pay the money they're asking for? And what do you think best price points are for remakes? You can send us a tweet at GamerHeadsPC. You can send us an email, info@gamerheadspodcast.com. You can go on our website at gamerheadspodcast.com and leave us a message there, or you can go to facebook.com/gamerheadspodcast. All right, before we go, then, why don't we go around and tell people how they can get a hold of us? Christian, how can people get a hold of you?
Sure, I'm on Twitter at Christian Cubs. Otherwise, you can read my editorials at pushsquare.com or newgamenetwork.com.
Great. And Blue, how can people get a hold of you?
You can almost always find me on Twitter. My handle is @WritersView, and it's spelled with a Y, so WRY. And then I also have a website, which is writersview.com.
Nice. And listeners, as I said before, the best way to get a hold of us is probably through Twitter. So you can follow us on GamerHeads PC. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/GamerHeadsPodcast. We also do have a website as well where we post articles and games that we're playing and our thoughts on different things and reviews, and that's at GamerHeadsPodcast.com. Plus, we'd love to hear what your thoughts are on the podcast. You can also leave us reviews on iTunes and help our show. If you like our show, you can help support it that way by leaving us a review, and other people can learn about our show as well. So we'd love for you to spread the word about our show. If you love the show, tell other people about it. All right, Christian, thank you so much for joining us this week.
It was a pleasure.
And Blue, thanks once again for joining us.
You're welcome.
And listeners,
Thank you.
Listeners, thank you for listening to our podcast. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule and adding this to your playlist. Thank you so much. All right, until next week, take care, stay safe, and game on. Talk to you later.